Welcome back to Autodesk Digital Builder Podcast. I am your host, Eric Thomas. We are sitting down in Los Angeles at Greenbuild and having another exciting discussion about sustainability and a whole lot more. But today we're going to be talking about the LA28 Olympic Games, which I'm very excited about. If you didn't hear any of the announcements recently, Autodesk is the official design and make platform of the LA28 Games. And so with less than 3 years until the opening ceremony, momentum is building and there's a lot of opportunity in the construction community coming. And so to help tell today's story, I am joined by Mike Baim, the VP of Venue Infrastructure at LA28 Olympic and Paralympic Games, and my very good friend, Allison Scott, the Director of Sustainability, Growth, and Engagement, also from Autodesk. Allie, you've been on a number of times. Mike, I'm very happy for you to join me today. How you both doing?
We're doing great. Excited to be here.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you so much for having us, Eric. I apparently love being a guest on this podcast, so I'm so glad we have a chance to talk about some of the work that we're doing together.
Allie, it's always great to have you back. And Mike, I'm so excited to get to know you a bit more. Your team is doing some incredible work right now, and I'm just excited to start unpacking it. But Allie, I think the first question I want to throw your way, can you share a little bit about how our relationship with Mike and the amazing folks at LA28 came to be?
What's interesting is that this really started off with just a natural outreach from someone at the LA28 Games reaching into Autodesk saying, hey, we're preparing for this sort of amazing program, and is Autodesk going to be part of that? And I think from what I understand, it was a natural continuation and a natural connection of a lot of shared values around having an impact, a local impact on a very visible global program. And having a chance for Autodesk to be a part of that is a really historic opportunity. And I think something that most people might not realize is that Autodesk has been shaping the design and built world for going on 40 years, right? So I think there's a lot of folks in this world that are using our tools and using them to build more sustainably now. And this was a natural fit for Autodesk to support the LA28 Games as the official design and make platform, as the way forward to see these games have a true impact, not just on the community, but the city at large, and for a long, long legacy. So we're really excited to kind of see how that shapes out.
And Mike, I'd love to hear a bit about your journey and how you ended up being part of LA28 and this exciting partnership.
I just want to echo what Allie said, which is this is a great partnership. And it's a lot of fun to bring Autodesk into this environment as we just bring the whole ecosphere together from both the data and the AEC world. My history starts in the Army about 30 years ago, joining as an engineer officer and then moving around the world, going to infrastructure at places like Baghdad and Iraq in 2003 and 4, later in Afghanistan, and then eventually in my last assignment as the deputy division commander looking over the 10 states out here, California being the main one there, stationed in San Francisco, and kind of got the call, said, hey, we have this opportunity for you. Know you're leaving the Army soon, and how would you like to come work for LA28? And how could you pass up that opportunity? I mean, it's just great to be here in LA and all the excitement that we have coming up with the Olympics.
Probably the largest operational theater activation you've ever seen, right?
It is massive. And it's very much like a military operation with all the venues, the simultaneous action that we're going to have to do with building, all the partners that we need, the logistics and resourcing, and how do you pull all that together from an information environment?
It's such a cool transition. And I'm very grateful that you're sharing some of your journey here. I've told a lot of the listeners of Digital Builder in the past, my first site walk was in Afghanistan. So we'll have to compare notes later and see if we happen to cross paths like, two ships in a night when we were both over in the region. But I want to dig in a little bit more into what's coming with LA28. And so, of course, mega events like this one bring extraordinary opportunities, but they also bring extraordinary challenges at times. And so I'd love it if you could help us understand the key challenges that your team is addressing as it relates to the 40 plus venues across Los Angeles.
Right. Yeah, Los Angeles and Oklahoma City as well, because this is going to be a huge Olympics. And we look at the football cities that we have coming and a real big national event. This is the largest Olympics in modern history. It's been described as taking a Summer Olympics and adding a Winter Olympics on top of it. 14 million tickets will be sold for this event. It is going to be a huge amount of people coming. The amount of sports is going to be incredible. And then just look at this facility that we're in right now, the LA Convention Center. We will have 10 sports happening here between the Olympics and Paralympics, and to be able to take this and transform it and enhance it and magnify the great facilities that Los Angeles has to the world on that world stage.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No, not at all.
What an opportunity, though.
I agree. I'm excited to just even have this conversation with you today because the games are such a big deal and there's so much that goes into it. So I appreciate the glimpse into just, where your head is at and everything that's coming for your organization. But Allie, I'd love to hear a little bit from your seat. How can technology help in managing this level of complexity? Like, we're at an exciting moment right now where tech is developing and accelerating faster than ever before. How does this impact the games?
So I think one of the things that Mike's team and the Autodesk team have been looking at closely is not just the fact that this is going to have an impact on the greater community and the city of Los Angeles at large, but also this is one of the first games that has put forward a commitment to do no new permanent venues. And that's a huge angle, a pivot, if you will, from a lot of other games in the past. And what's exciting about that is that there's going to be a combination of temporary overlay infrastructure as well as enhancements to existing buildings. And from a sustainability perspective, there's a saying out in the industry, right? Like the greenest building is the building that's already built. Yeah. So how do we take advantage of that existing building stock, make it better, refine it specifically for the games, but also be ready for those spaces to be, give back to the community after the games as well. There's a true, I've heard Mike say this in the past, there's a true legacy component here for these games as well. And I think the fact that Autodesk gets to be a part of that is momentous for us. So the way that technology gets to be a part of that conversation is really by helping to democratize and standardize the way that data and geometries are being planned from the get-go. And Autodesk Construction Cloud is at the center of this for LA28 Games, but also for the stakeholders that the team will be bringing on as well. So that means being able to have better communication, better coordination, planning ahead for things like schedule, activation, logistics, right? Logistics is a huge component. And the fact that ACC is a part of that conversation enables the stakeholder ecosystem across design and construction and engineering and even temporary overlay works, right? So Matt, you guys have a long supply chain that's going to be supporting these programs. The ACC is going to be part of the centralization of that. And that empowers the individual stakeholders, the individual architects and engineers and contracting firms, but it also empowers the LA28 Games to make sure that what they're delivering is showing up as expected on time within the boundaries and within the constraints that these games have to operate in. So the fact that we have technology now that is more robust, more interoperable, more granular, making this data and geometry more accessible. We have never had that before. So we're at a really pivotal moment for success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just go back a little bit. If you think about values, right? Ali, you mentioned values and having common values. And when we take co-creation, collaboration, integration in this environment and all the partners that we have to magnify these great facilities. While we're not in Rome, we don't have facilities as old as Rome. We do have a Colosseum. We do have Rose Bowl. Those are the two facilities that will be used in the Olympics for the third time, and that is history making. How do you be respectful and take these things that are from a legacy perspective and then enhance them in this environment for everybody to enjoy and kind of blending that old with the modern and the new, and where do we go into the future?
That's going to be exciting.
This all just makes sense from my seat and just the scale of everything you're doing. But the rapid pace of technology development within the AECO industry is exciting. I mean, Allie and I talk about this all the time because we're just giant nerds, but the impact on this community is going to be meaningful in a very positive way. And I'm very thankful that regardless of what tools we're implementing, we're able to be more sustainable and be more intentional as the development and everything you're discussing here starts to move forward. And so, Mike, that actually tees up my next question very nicely. Tell me a bit more about how LA28 is considering the broader lasting impacts to the city of Los Angeles.
The cultural impacts is what you're also looking at. This will be the 5th Summer Olympics held in the US, and you go back to St. Louis holding it, LA holding it, Atlanta holding it, LA and LA again.
Wow.
And just that legacy that we have here in the US, and to continue to magnify that. So it's a huge part of it. And then how do you integrate technology? right? The technology you had in the Atlanta Olympics is much different than what we have in this LA Olympics. As we bring in that common data environment with all the partners, and how do you do design in ACC? How do you collaborate? How do you make comments? How do you solve problems digitally before you actually start delivering? And how do you do that from a sustainable environment? As we said, the most sustainable thing is using what you already have, not building huge new capital improvement projects, adding to the carbon footprint. We don't want to do that. But we do want to figure out, if we're going to bring in a large temporary overlay, trailers, seating, and so forth, that we have a future where those things are going to go next, other events that are actually going to happen. So that is where the overlay, the integration, our values, co-collaboration, and so forth really plays in this environment.
I love how deliberate your team is being here, because it could be very easy to just get excited and like, we're going to build the big things, but that's just not a good impact on the community. And so you're really thinking this out in such a strategic and deliberate way. And I'm sure the folks that live across the entire LA area are very grateful for all the information that's coming out on how you're managing this.
There's also like ripple effects too, right, Eric? Like the work that the LA28 team is doing with the temporary overlay, as well as focusing on some of these existing building stock. We also know that the infrastructure around LA is also going to have benefits as well. So in terms of transportation, in terms of rail, like all of these other things are also starting to happen as well, that have ongoing benefits and ripple effects in the positive, in the net positive.
Oh, for sure.
For the games as well. And that moment in time becomes an opportunity where the community can rally and see sort of the longer term impact from a legacy perspective.
Yeah, and how do we prepare for the Olympics? And what are the communities doing from a preparation perspective? This is a incredible unifying event, both from the infrastructure ecosphere and the culture and the people and everybody we're going to bring here, and just to magnify the greatness of what we have here in Los Angeles.
Love it.
And I'm just chuckling, thinking back to our technology narrative. Could you imagine managing all of this on just paper alone?
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
And it's been done. That's how it has been done, right? And
like, what a wild change. Just that small aspect is incredible. And so, like, what a great opportunity. And I think there's a lot of cool stuff coming, but we're less than 3 years out from the games. And I'm excited to hear what each of you are most excited about at this stage. So Allie, what's got you fired up right now?
I think honestly, being able to see through the vision of the no new permanent venues in action, I'm really excited by, because there's been some amazing, feats of architecture in Olympic Games in the past, wonderful, iconic. But I think the approach for the LA28 Games is very unique. And I'm very excited to see that through, because there is so much, as you said, Eric, so much intention being placed around how the games are being activated. So I think I'm excited to see sort of how that plays out, and what the lasting impact is going to be to historic buildings like the Rose Bowl and other spaces. So I'm excited to see how that plays out.
I like it. Mike, how about you? What's got you fired up right now?
What has me fired up is all the people we get to talk to, the partnership, the ecosphere that we're building here, what we're going to do, and how do you integrate unions and communities, and then what are they going to do long-term with this? It's going to be fantastic. We're looking forward to it.
I like it. And so, of course, Digital Builder has a very considerable contractor audience as well. And so I'd love to understand how folks can get involved. Like, what should they do if this is catching their attention, whether they're in LA or otherwise? Like, where do they start?
Yeah. Yeah. So we are less than 1,000 days out.
Oh my God.
To just see that value of you're at 4 digits and now you're at 3 digits, and it's getting closer. And then we've got Milan Cortina coming up soon. And then right after that, there's going to be this huge excitement as so many things shift over to us. We have Ramp LA, which is a city-run website. Please go to Ramp LA. That is where we need all of our contractors and all the people interested with delivering services and products to input their information. That should happen heavily in this kind of January to March timeframe and going into next year. But we are hitting our first major procurement wave in that April to September timeframe. We're going to go out to bid with the market. We got to test the market, see what prices are, see who has interest. And then after the bids will be contract negotiations later next year as we get into a big 2027, as we now bring those partners closer and closer together. both from a relationship side and then the digital sphere that we're building in order to get ready to deliver the games.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure to include a link to the resources that you're talking about here in the show notes. So if somebody out there is excited about getting involved and wants to learn more, it should be very easy for them to make that transition into information gathering. So I appreciate you sharing that. So I've got one more question for both of you today. Allie, I've asked this so many times to you, so I'm going to give you a minute to think about it because I want you to give me a new answer this time. And Mike, since this is your first time on Digital Builder, I'm going to tee you up first. What is one tool that you use on every project you're working on, no matter what you're working on?
Yeah. So Eric, you mentioned going on walks in Afghanistan. Okay. And I've been on some long walks in some tough places. Whether it's a construction site here, it's overseas. I think the tool you need most is a really good pair of boots.
Oh, that's a good answer.
I like that. Coming from the military, especially, that's it. I have one pair of boots that's followed me around the world, actually. I bought them in Dubai for a trek I did in Mongolia. And like my toes poke out through them, but they're so comfortable. So if I'm hiking and it's not going to be rainy or wet, those are what I pull out.
Wow.
Otherwise, I'll pull out a newer pair that is not nearly as nice because they changed the materials. And that makes me a little sad inside. But I love your answer here. So Allie, hopefully you've had a moment to think about it. What's one tool that you use in every project?
So Eric, I've given very literal answers in the past, and I'm going to give one that's slightly more abstract or esoteric, and I'm going to say imagination.
I like it.
So I always bring forward with every project, every problem, asking myself what could be and look for opportunities to explore. So I have to bring my imagination to projects all the time.
I like it. And I'm going to plug this again because we've talked about it last time, but you are responsible for us sitting up here as my former manager who gave us the green light to try Digital Builder. And I got to say, in the early days when I didn't know what the heck was going on yet, you had a lot of imagination to open up the opportunity and the possibility because I didn't really know what I was getting even though I projected that I did.
We saw the opportunity. We took courage together, Eric. And I will say that the work that you and the team have done has continued to explode and just gone beyond, I think, what my own imagination could have seen.
Yeah,
so,
mine too,
congratulations.
to be completely honest. Well, I appreciate both of you so much for joining me here on Digital Builder. For everybody sitting to my immediate left and they're curious who this guy with the microphone is, I am your host, Eric Thomas. We are a video-first podcast. You can find us on YouTube or, of course, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other fun places. If you want to ask me a question, have an idea for a guest or an episode, just reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very likely the only Eric Thomas that works at Autodesk, so I should not be difficult to find. Until the next time, goodbye.